Now, Simon Chapple lives in Ash and is known as the Quit Alcohol Coach. He's also an author and has recently released the Sober Survival Guide. Good morning to you, Simon.
Morning, Leslie.
Now, this all stems from your own experience with alcoholism, doesn't it? And listening back to those clips that we just heard there, is there anything that sort of chimes with you?
Yeah, quite a bit. When I was listening to Meg and the other callers you had, that was absolutely my story. I was drinking anything from 1 to 3 bottles of red wine every single night. So, I used to look at the units of alcohol and I was sort of trying to convince myself that I didn't have a problem, but I was drinking probably 7 or 8 times the recommended daily allowance. And of course, I just buried my head in the sand. I carried on. I drank to blot out those uncomfortable thoughts, to try and make the stress and anxiety go away. So, yeah, I could absolutely relate to that.
And you did turn it around, and you turned it around in a massive way. But what was the point when you thought, because it is that admitting to yourself that things have perhaps got a little bit out of hand, what was it that led you to realise that?
Well, when I coach people to quit drinking, I always say to them that the toughest stage in the whole journey is that point where you realise you've got a problem and you don't really know what to do about it. And I found myself stuck in that place for about 5 years. It was really uncomfortable because I had this huge internal conflict going on. Half of me wanted to quit. Half of me wanted to keep drinking. I had sort of shaking hands and I knew I wasn't my best self. I was living in a permanent hangover, but I just didn't know what to do or where to sort of turn for help. Alcoholics Anonymous didn't really appeal to me. I wanted to approach it in a different way. So, it was a real challenge. And I didn't have a rock bottom moment. I didn't kind of crash my car or end up getting put in jail or anything like that. And I think that's a common theme.
Yeah.
People kind of think you have to have this rock bottom moment, and many people don't have that. They're just drinking too much, often at home.
Yeah. And the thing, and if they're waiting for that rock bottom moment, then it's potentially not going to come. But can you understand why some people are kind of leaning more towards drinking during these times?
Oh, 100%. So much of it stems from our beliefs and our conditioning, over the course of our lives. I looked at my beliefs. I didn't think I could have fun unless I drank. I truly believed that alcohol eased my anxiety. When I looked closely, I realised that those beliefs were actually limiting beliefs. They were holding me back from being the best version of myself. It sounds a bit woo-woo, but it's completely true. When you actually take a moment to really look at what you believe about alcohol and why you drink, and then dig into that and say, is this really true? Does the evidence actually support this belief? And 99% of the time, no, it doesn't.
That's really, really interesting. Really interesting. So if somebody can have one takeaway from today, what would that be? What would your advice be?
My advice in terms of practical, if you found yourself drinking more and more over the lockdown, one of the first things I did was I said to myself, am I drinking more now than I did 5 years ago? And I think most people will probably find yes, they are.
Yes.
And then I started looking for ways to quit. Like I say, I don't identify as an alcoholic or in recovery. There's so many really powerful and positive ways to quit where you feel like you're part of a movement and something special, rather than thinking, I've had this taken away from me. And it's all about changing mindset. And I started out by reading sober books, following sober influencers on Instagram, and then I joined an online program that was really, really helpful. So if anyone wanted to reach out to me, my Instagram's a great place. They can message me and I'll point them in the right direction, or go to my website, besober.co.uk, and just get in touch. I'll happily help. Point, because everyone's story is different and different things work for different people.
Yeah, and you're always such a reassurance when we talk to you on the subject. Simon Chapple there from Ash on the Sober Survival Guide.